And I just like to set out for you just some foundational stuff. If you were sitting in a youth ministry class, and this would be like the first or second day of class, we would cover this kind of ground. And we would say very simply that effective transformational ministry among young people that is sustainable is going to rest in a ministry to young people, a ministry with young people, and a ministry through young people. Admittedly, most ministries throughout our church focused primarily, if not exclusively, upon the ministry to, for, on behalf of kids. And it's an important component of what we do. Out of this emphasis arises our outreach, our mission, our hospitality, our invitational emphases. We look for events and activities to be the driving avenues to connect with kids. We encourage kids to invite their friends. We try to think of what are the fun things that we could do to get kids involved in our ministry. Creating entry points for kids. We often focus this around large group activities. It requires a lot of organization, but you can cover a lot of ground alone if you're focusing on a ministry to young people. But that's where an awful lot of congregations put the eggs in the basket, and they don't go any further than that. And they don't take into consideration that we are not just called to be a people who are looking forward to opportunities for outreach and evangelism and faith sharing, but we're also looking for opportunities to draw alongside of kids, shoulder to shoulder, to invest in those kids, to offer a discipling, nurturing environment that's going to cultivate the seeds of faith that have been sown in the heart by God's Spirit through other people that are just pouring into kids. This is a ministry with young people. You can't pull that off by yourself. We need others to stand alongside of us and together speak into young people's lives, be available and not hesitant in addressing questions, or at least allowing the questions to be asked, because we don't know all this stuff. But we work together to discern what God's heart and revelation is around certain matters of faith and life experiences. We want to enlarge the conversations of faith among young people. And how do you do that if you're not able to work with kids shoulder to shoulder, eye to eye? And that's going to require much more small group emphasis in ministry. Here's where the relationships are really cultivated, where we have opportunity as an adult guarantor to mentor young people and to be a presence in the lives of young people, knowing that you cannot measure the ripple effect of a life lived faithfully for God. And so there is many congregations that put an emphasis on ministry to and before and behalf of kids. Much fewer of them put an emphasis on ministry with kids. But ministry with kids is this discipling component that cannot be overlooked. We're going to look for sustainability in youth ministry, something that goes beyond the high mountaintop and holy experience that causes a kid to be passionately on fire for God for about 3 weeks before they start to come down. And they start to come down and say, what next? I mean, where do I go? What does this commitment to follow Jesus Christ really mean for the way I live my life as I go to school, as I connect with my family members, as I live on the block that I do? But if you take the ministry to young people and the ministry with young people seriously, very few congregations ever hold sacred the ministry through young people. We have a hard time releasing young people in ministry. Gallup did a survey a number of years ago inquiring of mid-adolescents, number one reason why they have withdrawn from faith community, and their collective priority answer: lack of meaningful involvement. Congregations hold it pretty close to the chest when it comes to sharing responsibilities in ministry. We compensate by that for having youth Sunday services, and I am not at all opposed to youth Sunday services, but if that's all that it is, if we carve out a week out of 52 in the year to kind of be kind to kids and give them an opportunity to express themselves, failing to recognize that each person, regardless of age, has been gifted by God's Spirit to serve God's purposes. We have a resource in young people that need to have opportunities to exercise those gifts and learn from people such as yourself what it means to lead. And you can't lead without being willing to let go. And it's hard to let go. But in letting go, we're providing people an opportunity to have experiences that help shape and cultivate them as current and future leaders of the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ. And we want to be a part of that. We want to reach out to kids, we want to nurture kids, and we want to release these kids for witness and service. And you're the doorkeeper of this. You're the advocate. You're the one who is speaking on behalf of young people in the church seeing that we are being faithful to the biblical mandates in response to the gospel, to reach out, to love in the forms of nurture, and to equip people for ministry. It's got to go so far beyond us, because we cannot get in the way of what God is seeking to do in the lives of young people.